heard something else that appeals to him more than the steenbok that he saw running towards him. You'll notice VM's showing you an interesting angle here. The tail does tell a story, and watch how it twitches as he excitedly tries to approach this prey. For over 50 years now, and they're all still doing well, and that goes to show that we are not impacting greatly on their life to any negative degree. If we were, 50 years of doing it surely wouldn't be sustainable. What a beautiful morning it is out here, and when you've got a leopard thrown into the equation, it certainly makes for a wonderful time. Maneuvering from left to right, up and down, backwards, forwards, and that's typical of a leopard, especially a leopard that's in a new area, which we are confident is the case here. It certainly is the first time I'm seeing this leopard. Whether or not he's been here before, we'll never know, but he's yet to be seen here in the 5 months that we've been broadcasting since November last year, and great to have a new face. Male came across the other young males that were born in this area and are used to spending time here. Those kind of interactions are something we can look forward to. Copy, perfect. We can link over to Brent. Well folks, it sounds like Brent's found some great other action, so let's catch up with him and see what he's got in store for you.
A bit old to be drinking?
Sometimes they're just comforts of gold, aren't they?
Welcome back, guys. We came to check on Djuma, and as we arrived, this big herd of ellies started heading down towards the dam. The kill Djuma's got is just off to the front of the vehicle, so it's possible the ellies might smell him, so they could chase him around. So we'll see what happens. Oh, some nice little ones in the middle there. Oh, there's still more coming around the back. Let's see how many ellies we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 that I can see. Jason, just go up in front of us here. You see those two elephants at the back? So the kill is in that tree where the elephants are. It looks like they're sniffing, possibly where there might be some blood or whatnot on the ground. So I'm not sure if the leopard's actually in the tree or he's lying up in the Timbuetis where they left him this morning. So we're not going to move any closer to that spot in case they do get excited and start chasing him. Oh, thanks. I just heard from the guys who are watching the Djuma cam that the hyena was picking up some leftovers where the ellies are sniffing right now. So there's that big female with that very distinct inverted tusk that we saw yesterday. So we'll do is just have a quick look how much of the kill is left, and then we're going to loop around to catch up with the ellies again on the other side of this thicket. How much meat left in it? How much you got it? Do I need to go back? Not much meat left on it. He was sleeping in the thickets. Let's go around, and we've had lots of this morning, so let's go follow those ellies for a while. They left Djuma lying in this Timbueti thicket chat. Those eddies are quite mobile. Definitely got that, what I like to call a water walk. Sort of get this lumbering gait. Hopefully we can get to the water before them. So bear with me if There we go, we've managed to get into the spot, and there's that water walk. It's almost excitement as they approach. So the reason they've chosen to come to this little bit of water as opposed to the dam is the dam is getting quite muddy and smelly, and this is actually pumped water, so it's nice and clean. And it's amazing, elephants will drink muddy water, but if they have a choice to drink clean water, they always do. So just in a couple of days I've been back, I've noticed that the ellies have been digging in the drainage lines a lot more to get cleaner water rather than drinking from the dams that are quite smelly at the moment. The Champion drove at the little pan in front of Gallagher. Lovely, thanks. The little boy lifting his head at us. quite interesting. This tiny little baby. Look at him, he's on his knees to get his trunk down to the water. See if he slips in. They almost look so unsteady when they try to bend their knees. Go down again. Good girl. So you guys might have heard me talking there. The one cow came very, very close, and just to preempt anything bad happening, just change the tone of my voice slightly. I didn't have to shout, I didn't have to scream, but just get her to move away, realize that she's a little bit too close. Some people do let elephants put their trunks in and smell the vehicle and whatnot, which is all and great 90% of the time, but there will be that 1% of the time where it's not so good. And that, when it's not so good with elephants, can be very, very serious. They are very big and strong animals, and you have to have a lot of respect for them. So rather than let it get too close that there's a situation might happen, I'd rather just change my tone of voice a little bit and ask her to move away. I'm just going to move around so you can see them. Now they've had a drink, they're probably going to move off and start feeding. At least they seem to all have manners today. No one managed to defecate in the water. So we'll stay with the herd for a little bit longer. It's one nice thing about elephants, they're always nice and busy. Proper elephant traffic jam on the road. So the bushes are a little bit thicker here, so I'm going to stay a little bit further away. Good morning, Kevin from Boston. And Kevin would like to know, do elephants use ear flapping as a form of communication? To a very small degree, yes. Normally, it's a defensive or aggressive posture where they'll raise their heads and raise their ears to make themselves look bigger. But and that's probably the closest it comes in terms of communication. Their ears are more sort of used as their air conditioning device, and have up to 8 liters of blood in their ears, and so the warm blood from the body is pumped into those ears, which are quite thin, and with flapping it cools the blood, and then the cool blood goes back into the body. But more, I would say, from the communication point of view, the elephants use the ears more for sort of posturing. So if they want to look bigger and more intimidating, open up their ears and show you how big they are. They do that to each other as well, specifically if they're about to have a disagreement. But I think that's probably the only form of communication you're going to get from their ears. So the bush is getting quite thick here, so we're not going to follow them further in here. All it would do is annoy them and possibly put us in a situation we want to. And they're a nice, relaxed herd, so we don't want to annoy any of the animals we see. So we're going to let them go on their merry way and go see what else we can find. But there's still some more on the road in front of us. We'll stay with them till they move off into the thickets. Good morning, Ramey. Welcome on Drive with us this morning. Ramey would like to know what would have happened if the little elephant had fallen into the pond. Well, Ramey, he probably would have just got a bit wet. There was an easy way for him to get out on the other side, but if it had been sort of a steeper, muddier thing, the adults would have helped the little elephant to get out. Good morning, Brenda from Pennsylvania. Brenda would like to know why the forest elephants are brown and these elephants are very grey. Brenda, having seen quite a few forest elephants, they also are very grey. They do look quite a lot darker a lot of the time because the soil there is much darker. These elephants spray themselves with a lot of dust and sand. But from a colour spectrum, I'd say the forest elephants and the savanna elephants are very similar in colour. But being in a drier climate, these guys might seem more grey. But as in my experience, they're very close in coloration. The only major differences that I've seen is in the eyes. Oh, look at the little... See, that's definitely a little boy. Little girls don't behave like that. He's practicing for when he's big and strong. Like most little boys, as soon as he's slightly unsure of himself, he runs back between his mom's legs. So guys, I think the questions I was asking you were too easy yesterday. That elephant that is in shot now, there's a whole bunch of trees, and what that elephant's eating, who knows what's the name of that plant? And I'll give you a little hint. Look at the shape of the leaves. So remember to send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. I'll grab a branch for you to have a closer look at now as the ellies disappear. So look at the shape of the leaf is a very good indicator of what tree it is, and it's a hint for the name as well. So I think the questions I was asking were a bit easy yesterday, so we're going to have to make them a bit more difficult today. Let's move on and see what else we can find. Probably, thanks. Yeah, forward a bit for you there. Just in the thickets there. A nice. Okay, well, we're going to say goodbye to this old buffalo boy. Apparently there's some interesting stuff happening with Scott. So we're going to cross across to Scott and see what he's got.
Welcome back, and you're about to get a great visual. We below him, and there's something about being lower than the animal that really does alter the mood of the picture. And this young male has still been on the move. We've been battling to keep up with him, and it sounds like you've all been enjoying a wonderful elephant sighting with Brent. And how lucky are we that we can bounce between the two vehicles, bringing you twice as much content as any other game viewer that is driving through the Sabi Sands today. So this is great. And he has come out into a more open area now, so perfect timing for you to come back to us. He's been going around in circles, sniffing very intently. Speculation as to why he's moving so cautiously is that potentially he's never been into this area before. In the 5 months that we've been filming, we've yet to see him here. That's not to say that he hasn't been here, it just means we haven't seen him, but that is something to bear in mind. He may be on virgin territory, and therefore moving cautiously. He is young and could come across any other threats, other leopards, hyenas, lions, and even us as humans can relate. When you're in an area that you've never been before, you can feel a little bit lost and nervous, so you can relate with them. So that's one theory. The other theory is that simply he's very hungry and wanting to try and find something to eat, and going about that in a very slow and methodic way in order to not try and ruin any potential hunting opportunities. As you can see, he's just to our right, and VM has panned across, but I do want to just try and get ahead of him while he's stationary. trees we drive over, if we drive straight over them with the wheels on either side, they do just spring back up, so that's something else to bear in mind. Oh, there's a big male kudu here. Now, that's surely far too big for him, but he might have a go at it. It's a monstrous prey animal, and there are a few females trying to creep up to them. He was heading straight towards them. I'm fairly certain he knows they're here. But like I did say, it's a very big prey item for a leopard. But a youngster, especially a young boy, may be willing to take a few risks and try his luck. Well, at least we can see the kudu now, and there's a female that I can see, actually two, that are looking in his direction. The wind at least we can see the kudu now, and there's a female that I can see, actually two, that are looking in his direction. The wind is possibly in the leopard's favor. It seems to be blowing away from the vehicle, and therefore, oh, there he is, VM, on the termite mound at 1 o'clock. It's going to be very difficult because it's thick. You got him?
Yeah, very
perfect, perfect, beautiful. So, folks, you can see him there, and I know it's not the best view, but you must understand that he is hunting and we don't want to interfere. And in order to do that, we need to stay a fair distance away. And in this thick vegetation,
he's crouching.
there we go. We're quite deep in the block, north of Shibam Road, Human Kaplan. Negative. Now you'll notice he's moving quite quickly through this area, and it's because the kudu have moved off. I don't think they detected him. They would have let out a loud dog-like bark, which is their alarm call. But have continued feeding in an easterly direction, and he's now just trying to keep close enough to them to be in contention for an ambush. But it is important to know that they have to be so close to their prey before they burst out and chase them down. And by close, I mean 5 or 6 meters. And where we saw him on the termite mound, he was probably 40 meters away, so far too far off to launch a strike. But look at that. You can see his tail twitching in excitement. And he's still on their trail. No, the kudu's seen him, and you may have heard the bark, and you'll continue to hear it as the kudu move off. They could even keep an eye on him rather than running off immediately into the unknown. The kudu may stay and keep an eye on him and really alert everything in this area to its presence. No luck, buddy. And you can continue to hear the kudu alarm calling. The majority of attempted hunts end in failure, so not uncommon to witness this. And he's just come past very, very close to our vehicle, which is fortunate considering the amounts of great sightings we've already had this morning. It just keeps getting better, and we're not going to be going anywhere, so we'll keep an eye on what he does for the next few moments, and hopefully he'll come across some more prey. Oh, now the impala have seen him, and I can just hear them alarm calling. And it's the unfortunate thing about being a leopard is that once the kudu started alarm calling, that obviously increased the impala's alertness, and now they, due to being alerted by the kudu, have spotted this leopard long before they may have, had they have not been warned. And it's just another example of how difficult it can be for a leopard. It's not only the antelope that will alarm call, birds, squirrels, monkeys will all shout at a leopard if it's walking past, and that way making it very difficult for them to catch prey, especially if they have Okay, so now I'm going to try and get into a shot where we can see both the leopard and the impala in one shot. He's just walking past them and not even looking at them. He knows there's absolutely no chance of catching him because they know of his presence. And as I did mention earlier, they rely on ambush. If it is not a surprise attack with no prior warning, the leopard would have no chance in bringing down their prey. And even when they do launch that strike, they need to be incredibly close to their prey, 5 or 6 meters, if they're going to have a chance in catching it. So now basically he's just going to accept that this area is a no-go zone for catching anything. and we'll now have to move on and search for new prey. I'm hoping he's going to come on top of this termite mound. You can, now that we've stopped, hear the impala alarm calling. It's a nasal snort that they let out. Absolutely wonderful, and what a morning it's been. Woke up this morning thinking we'd be spending our time with a different male leopard, and due to the fact that we were spoiled for choice on the leopard that we know is still in a certain area with the baboon kill, but not really performing, so to be here with this male on the move, seeing so much interesting behavior, is, well, it has been a wonderful plan B, and one that I certainly didn't expect. Also the fact that we're viewing a leopard that we've never seen here before, and what he's doing now is opening up an organ in his upper lip called the Jacobson's organ, and this allows them to process scent better. So whatever it is that he can smell there, possibly a scent mark from another leopard, by grimacing and flaring his upper lip, it opens up that organ to process the scent better. There he's doing it again now. And again, wouldn't it be just so interesting to know exactly what information he is reading into there? Who it was, how recently the animal was there. Who knows how in depth the notifications are from these scent marks, but he certainly is taking his time to process all this information. Copy, thanks Nix. Maybe just get an update from Brent on how he's doing with his plans. There are so many flies buzzing around, but it's keeping us awake here. But what a morning it's been, and I hope you're all enjoying this. I certainly am loving every moment of this drive. The fact that we've got a new kid on the block, one that we've never seen here before, is great prospects and just really interesting. And regardless of which leopard this was, just the fact that we've been able to spend close on 2 hours now initially watching it sleeping in a tree, and just as we went live, just as the broadcast issue had been fixed, you all managed to see him come down from that tree, and that was a beautiful sight. And since then, to follow him over this huge distance, we've probably moved 3 miles from here, from where we found him. And it sounds like Brent's found himself some more action. So we're not going to go anywhere. We'll stay with this young male, and there is a chance that Nicky will cut across to Brent's, because he could have found himself in some serious action. Copy, first message was a bit misleading, sorry about that. Well, again, you can see it performing this phlegm grimace. Is a term that is used, and apologies, Brent hasn't found anything very exciting. I just misread the radio chatter, so we're not going anywhere. I just like to give all the game viewers an update as to what he's up to. But what I'm also going to do is just pull over so we can leapfrog and allow the other vehicle in the sighting a chance to go ahead and also enjoy some more views of him if they desire. Craig, he's on Rebecca's now, heading south towards Philemon's cut line. You're more than welcome to join. Copy that. Perfect. He has just veered off. So we'll try and loop ahead of him for one last view. So, like I say, he has veered off that road, and I'm just trying to loop ahead, but it turns out Brent has found some action, and we're going to cut over to him. If I don't see you before the show closes, thanks very much for joining, and we'll see you this afternoon.
welcome back, guys. As you can see, it's been a really busy morning here on Djuma, and I'm quite sure I don't need to introduce this lady here. So it is actually a herd of impala, probably 50-60 meters from her, but she's not really looking very interested. Difficult to see if she's fed or whatnot. See, I knew I didn't have to say which leopard it was, guys. I knew you would all know it was Karula. She's now seen the impala. FM. Brent from Wild Earth. Sorry, Jan, go again. FM. A copy. If you switch off, I'll give you a rev. FM, I'm only stationed here. How's that for you? Forward, back? I just need to make space. There's another vehicle coming in. Let me just loop around. Let's see if we can go. Just tell me when you got a good shot there. What?
Let's go back in there a little bit. There you go.
Cool.
There's one blade of grass.
We can live with a single blade of grass.
Can you see this mother?
Sorry?
Can you see the mother?
That's what I'm looking for. I can, I think, just see the impala. Let's have a look.
Also, Nikki's trying to get hold of you.
Oh, sorry, I turned Nikki down. Nikki, just stand by. No, she's relaxed. She knows they're there, but she's not showing any interest in them. She's watching them, but very relaxed. FM, keep coming. Sorry, next, go again. Sorry, next side, the other radio going very loudly at the same time. Please, can you go again? She's watching the impala. No real intent, but it's worth. We can stay for an extra few minutes. It's not a transmash at all. She might get up and start moving again. So guys, just to let you know, because of we've just had she looks like she's about to start stalking. So just because we had a bit of technical difficulties when we started this morning, we've just had a group chat and discussion, and since Scott and I are both sitting with leopards, we decided we're gonna extend the drive by a bit. Let's see if they do anything. She's definitely spotted that impala. I can see that impala's bum from here. And she is looking at that impala, so we never know what's going to happen, and we're quite happy to stay with her, and Scott's staying with Bahuti, so we'll just stick with them and see what happens. So it looks like she might move her way around towards those impala. So what I'm going to do is not to drive directly behind her like we would if she wasn't hunting. I'm going to try and make my way around a little bit, so we can be parallel to her, but we don't attract attention to her. You okay there?
Yeah, good.
Got it. How's the aerial? Good. You still got visual? Hey, there she is. It's amazing how quickly a leopard can just disappear from sight. Okay, we can see her there. So what I'm going to do is actually go even further forward, so I can put myself in a position somewhere between her and the impala, and then just switch off so we minimize our impact on what's happening. Unfortunately, it's quite an open block, not as bad as some of the other places we've had to follow through before. Okay, so Karula is to our right, the Impala are to our left. I can just see an Impala through the bush. And you can see how her body language has changed. Here she comes. Hello, old lady. So, Impala, the Impala probably about 30 meters from where she is now. A firm. I love that, the tail, sort of ultimate concentration when a leopard stalks. You just watch the tail move slightly, and when they get to that sort of final 5 meters, it just goes dead still. What is she seen behind us? Might be more Impala. Sorry if my head gets in the way, I'm just trying to... If those ones are closer. You know what is behind us? There's something that she's seen or heard. Definitely not the most serious stalk I've ever seen her do. Oh, an Impala's actually walking towards us. There is quite a good bit of cover for her in between where the Impala are and she is. Let's see if you can just swing across and show everyone how close the Impala are.
It's not the closest one, but it's
No, there, but there's about 5 or 6 of them in that area. Almost looks like she's gone to sleep, sitting up. So difficult to imagine what's going through her mind as she's talking. Is she planning her next move with her eyes closed? Or is she doesn't look that hungry, so maybe she's just thinking, is it worth chasing them, or should I have a snooze? Leopard is definitely one of the most patient hunters. The impala are running around chasing each other. So the impala are chasing each other. They are about to start the rutting season. So she's actually now looping around us to try and move to where the impala are going. Did she blow it? Or they're rutting? She blew it. Okay, where did she disappear to is the next question. I think she's been spotted by those impala. Where?
Straight line, yeah.
We'll shortly see whether she's been spotted. You can see her whole body language has changed and she's on the move again. Yeah, they spotted her. She's moving and scent marking now, west on the block. Next, what's the update with Scott? You can smell the popcorn from where she's just scent marked. Copy, thanks. Copy, thanks. That's not good. Oh, that's just changing direction. is. Just trying to find a way through. No, I'm going other way, sorry. I changed my mind. Oh, that's just this. She's going to a bit of a thicker area in the block, but we will try to stay with her. Looks like she's found a warthog. Owl. She's had a smell around there, not doing anything really. There's a stump I did not see, and a hole. Still there she is. Oh, how my tires. Yeah, how's that side? Tires? Hope I haven't got a flat. Copy, thanks. So she was just inspecting a warthog hole. Okay, thanks, will do. Okay guys, it's going to get a bit thick and messy in here while we try to follow Krula, but we will stay with her. And in the meantime, we're going to cross to Scott and Bahuti and see what's happening on that side.
Well, how incredible has this morning been? The fact that we are now viewing essentially a grandson of the female leopard you've just been viewing now with Brent is quite remarkable. And that combined with the fact that both of them are on the move during the daylight has provided us with an incredible morning of leopard viewing. It's incredible how far this individual's moved. He's almost crossed through the entire property of Djuma from east to west. But it may be that at some stage shortly he may take a break. As we are talking, I can feel the sun beating down on my back, and it really is warming up, so this may be a factor that, coupled with the fact that he has been on the move for quite some time now, that he may want to find a shady spot and relax. But we'll certainly try our best to stay with him up to such a point, and what that will do is allow us to make the most of this great opportunity, as well as help us in relocating him this afternoon. The closer tabs we keep of these animals, obviously the easier it becomes for us to relocate them. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, not every drive is like this, and we can go for days, sometimes even weeks, without seeing predators. So it certainly is worth our while to make the most of this great opportunity. To rest and relax. Let's wait and see. He's been sniffing very intently, and especially on trees along the way here. And these prominent trees that he has been smelling are points that leopard could move from one large prominent tree to the next, and it could well be that he's following the scent of another leopard that has passed this exact same trail over the past few days or maybe even weeks. Going to reposition ever so slightly, as it may well be that he decides to rest here. We've just got a great question through from Eric on Twitter. Good morning, Eric, and welcome. Eric is asking, how far is Bahuti away from his grandmother Karula right now? And I would say around a mile, maybe under a mile. I'm not sure of Brent's exact location, but I do have a very good idea of where he is. So I would say certainly within a mile of one another. And again, who knows if they've ever encountered one another? There's a strong chance that they have. Karula will be a lot more tolerant of her daughter Tandi, which is this leopard's mother, than other females that she did not raise herself. And who knows, she could well have spent time with her daughter and grandson. Well, as you can see, contrary to my predictions, he's not taking this shady spot as a resting point, and he continues. And what an incredible sight this is, seeing him pace through this beautiful open plain that we're in. Well, the question we've got to ask ourselves is, how long do we extend the broadcast by? How long do we continue following him for? It's not an easy one to answer. but I think at least another 5 minutes or so I'd like to spend with him, just to make sure there's no impala around the next corner. The only way to see incredible things out here is to invest time with animals, and this is a great opportunity to do that. And what a lot of you may not understand is that documentaries that you see on various channels will often have been filmed over very long periods of time with crews dedicated to staying with animals for incredibly long hours in order to get the great shots. And it is just important to realize that a 1 hour documentary essentially could have taken a whole year's worth of footage to condense and create a riveting 1 hour show. For us, on the other hand, it is live, so we cannot predict and cannot cut and paste and edit anything. But what we can do is we can try our best to stay with animals when scenarios are like this, where they could well come across potential prey. Instead of following them through this quite thick bush, I am going to take a little bit of a chance and stay on the road, which I know is bending towards the direction that he's heading on. So he's in all likelihood going to pop out onto this road. So rather than unnecessarily beating through the bush after him, we can assume relatively safely that he is going to pop out just ahead of us here. I do know that there is a herd of impala that frequent this area, and the road is actually called Impala Road, so that is why I would like to hang around with him. He may stumble across this herd of impala, or anything else for that matter. Simply the fact that he's on the move means that he's got an increased likelihood of coming across something to catch. Got a little gap of him through there. And again, he was just sniffing another marula tree intently, and I'm almost certain another leopard has followed the same trail that he's now following. Just got a question through from Anne on Twitter. Morning, Anne. Anne is interested to know, will a leopard's scent stay the same throughout its life? And that's a good question. I guess to a degree their fragrance, you could say, or scent would stay the same in that way, maybe allow other leopards to know who's who, judging by the smell. But if you take a female leopard, for example, her scent mark will tell a very different story when she is in season relative to when she is not. How much that is applicable to males, I'm not entirely sure, but the messages within scent marks will change, I feel. So that is safe to say. But I understand your point in that their specific ID associated with a specific scent that would allow other leopards to know who's who would in all likelihood stay the same, and that way it will allow leopards over time to learn which leopard has moved through a certain area. Great question, and it would be a nice one to ask Bahuti himself. Wouldn't it be great if he could tell us a few stories about actually what goes on in their lives, because they are such interesting cats in that they all differ greatly depending on the individuals, and it's the same for all animals, but almost more so with leopard. Well, thankfully he's stuck to his initial route and has now popped out onto the road, and he's providing us with this beautiful image. Okay, so the 5-minute my 5-minute extension is being extended by another 5 minutes because the road that he's heading down now is taking him straight towards another little open clearing, and that is where we have seen countless sightings of a large herd of impala, and maybe he's going to get lucky. So this is a great lesson for everyone that thought leopards only move at night. As you can see, today he's been on the move for close on 2.5 hours during perfect sunshine. As he lifts his head, watch closely, and he may grimace his lips, the phlegm grimace, which, just to recap, opens up an organ in their upper lip called the Jacobson's or vomeronasal organ. And this is a highly specialized organ which allows animals to process scents very accurately, and in order to do this, they will flare their lip, and it appears like they are grimacing when they do that. You may hear some birds chattering in the background. Those are green wood hoopoes, formerly known as red-billed wood hoopoes, and known in Zulu, one of the local languages of South Africa. They're known as the Hlegabafazi, which means the cackling lady or cackling sister, because their call to the Zulu people resembles a bunch of ladies having a good old chuckle. There's the grimace. He did it very briefly there, and may do it again. If you had have asked me, if I'd have seen this leopard this morning where we started the sighting at Twin Dams, and asked me where I think he would have ended up by this stage of the morning, I would never in a million years have had assumed he would have moved this far north and west, or even this far. So it just goes to show that we kind of think we know. Well, we do. We think we think we know what's going on and how these animals work, but we don't, and they always surprise us with their movements. Well, I've just got a message from VM saying that our battery power is running very low, which means whether we like it or not, we are going to have to finish this broadcast fairly shortly. So we'll just get one last view of him, double check that there's no impala around, and then switch back to Brent and see what he's up to. But from myself and VM, great work on camera today, and always great sharing adventures like this with you, so thank you. And to Nikki in Final Control, thank you too, and to all of the viewers who, without you, we wouldn't have a need for this production. So thank you for all of your support, all of your questions, and hope you enjoyed this morning. And goodbye from me until this afternoon. We're just going to have one last shot of this beautiful leopard until we cut over to Brent. going to require me to reposition, and will this be the shady spot that he decides to sleep? Who knows? We'll certainly come back and have a look for him this afternoon. But I fear that with the way that he's been moving this morning, we're going to battle to find him this afternoon. We're certainly worth a try though. Anyway, from myself and this new young male leopard, the first time we've showed him to all of you, Bahuti, we will see you in the afternoon.
Welcome back, guys. As you can see, we're still with Krula. She's slowly picking her way through the block. I'll stay with her a little bit longer. Just see what's going on. Amazing how she seems to choose the nice thick places to walk through instead of walking through the open places. Can you see her? She's still moving. Let's try it this way. It looks a bit easier for us to get through. Slowly moving our way through the block, stopping, listening. Just getting warmer, and she has been moving for a while, so it's possible she might rest up shortly. You haven't confirmed you've got my vehicle visual. Okay, she's just passing the front of my vehicle now. See how she's using the termite mound as a nice vantage point. Good morning, Lisa from Twitter. Lisa's said, Brent, you've been all over. Have you ever seen so many leopards in such a short period? Lisa, I've been very lucky, and there's a few times I have. A couple of times in the Sabi Sands and a couple of times in northern Botswana. But it is not very common. Climb up there. Oh, to the center. Jump. Johan, come in. Yeah, Jan, she's sort of moving parallel to the road at the moment. Going back into one of those monkey orange thickets. I'm going to be leaving shortly. Jan, if you head down a bit further, there's a large termite mound over there, and she's moving directly parallel like that. Next coming. Nikki, do you copy? I'm gonna sign off now. Okay guys, well, thanks for joining us on Drive this morning. It's been a really, really great morning. I've had lots of fun. We've had lots of sighting, lots of leopards, elephants, lions. It's been a really, really great morning, and thanks for sticking with us through the technical difficulties early on, and hopefully we'll see you all on Drive with us this afternoon. So if wherever you are in the world, have a splendid morning or evening, and we'll catch up with you later.